All right. Hello and good afternoon, Oregon. Hope everyone is having a great fall and start to the holiday season. We have so many great organizations joining us today, and we're going to wait another minute or so for more people to join and hope you're all able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy lunch while watching this. And if you didn't get to use the code, it should be still good to use until I believe Friday afternoon. And let me know in the Q&A box what you ordered for lunch. So my organization, we're based in San Jose, California, so we're on the same time for lunch. We recently got, I believe it's German cuisine. There was a lot of like bratwurst, Reuben, and also like Jewish deli bagels. And I ordered an egg salad sandwich. It's one of my favorites, just something nice and refreshing. And they also had pastries, so I was able to get a rice pudding too. All right, I see someone is having a Cobb salad. Someone ordered pizza, hot dog, sweet greens. Gotta love a good salad bowl, burrito bowl from Chipotle. All right, so before we get started, just wanted to go over some housekeeping. At the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with an email to send the HRCI and Shroom credits. And if you have any questions today, I'll do my best to check that Q&A box and get back to you as soon as possible. These questions will be saved. I may not be able to address them as they come up, but should be able to send over like a written answer in a follow-up email. And then if you want any further information, please feel free to respond to that follow-up email. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter and our YouTube channel. I'll have those links at the end of the presentation. And then we're also going to send a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues, and that'll be sent separately through Zoom. Today, we're going to talk about Oregon nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponco. I'm the Senior Member Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales for almost 10 years. I was selling vendor booth space at a wedding fair for about 3 years. I've set up meetings for tech startups during the pandemic, and currently I'm speaking with nonprofits and setting up appointments at 501. I've been with the company since July 2023. And there's an image of people bowling that includes me and some of our sales and marketing team members. Heidi is my manager in the middle. You might work with her in the future. And then we have Evan on the right. He helps with marketing and web development. And I'm really excited to be part of a team that's been helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. Our company is located in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thank you again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and finally provide more information on our company, 501c Services, and how many of our Oregon nonprofits. We have over 140 members in Oregon that have benefited from our services. So first of all, just wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. Between 1930 to 1972, 501c3 organizations didn't pay for unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although this saved them money from paying such taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of that safety net for-profit companies had provided. Now, fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but they were provided different alternatives in how they pay so that that tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in the state of Oregon. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. For instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. And most states, including Oregon, run as a risk pool. So the amount of money your organization is putting into your state's tax pool doesn't necessarily equate to what you'll get out. And we are seeing a lot of nonprofits put more money into the pool than what they're actually getting back. And then these total tax liabilities by employers, they're often greater than the claims paid, with reserves used in times of recession. And then to calculate that tax liability, you multiply the taxable wage base by your tax rate. And now we'll do like a little quiz on what a single claim can cost in Oregon. If you want to put your guesses in, we have the Q&A box. I'm seeing $11,000, 16,100, 77,100 or 77,75, 7,100, 6,800, 9,100. And just as like a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum multiplied by the number of weeks someone can claim. And then that number of weeks, just as a hint, is 26 weeks in Oregon. So I have 11,200, 18,000, 19,500. All right, and I see one more guess. I see 21,300. And another answer varies. There are some states that it depends on like the number of dependents. There's like a lot of different variables so there may be a range. All right, so the maximum claim or the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in Oregon can cost $22,672. And just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. And then those extended benefits you saw during the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. And so the maximum weekly benefit amount in Oregon is $872. And then when we multiply that number by 26 is how we get that $22,672 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. And then the federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. Here in Oregon, the taxable wage base is currently set at $54,300. So that means for the first $54,300 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. And then the minimum tax rate is at 0.9%, and then the maximum tax rate is at 5.4%. And those are both set by the state. And then the last thing I want to know is the improper payment rate from the last slide, which is at 10.77%. And this equates to over $193 million in overpayments to former employees who were collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. And this is information we get from the Department of Labor. You can see Oregon is one of the many states that's between 10 to 13%. This is important to know as we've really encouraged you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501c Services, we help organizations monitor this. And if you are managing on your own, you want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. And so there are three different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with the tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. And then another option is that you can self-insure or reimburse for your unemployment, where you're just paying dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers a savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. And just let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications that we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. It excludes religious institutions. And then we recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more, because typically if your payroll is under 1 million, especially significantly less than that number, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and then you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there are some cases where you could see potential savings, so we're happy to look at your numbers, even if you're just slightly less than 1 million. And then we also look at a positive audit from the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you're paying in actual claims. And then we want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption for funding the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay in the state tax system if you might have anything from impending layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And then you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. And what it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separate employees. No matter how your employees separated, they'll still go through the same process for your unemployment department, where the state will determine their benefit amount based on the base period pay. The only change is how the quarterly bill is calculated. So instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for charges your organization incurs. And we work with over 1,500 nonprofits across the nation, and 140 of them are in the state of Oregon. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying into the state tax system. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing also eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as those tax hikes you can't control, and you become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than into the state pool. And because unemployment is managed by the federal government big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we could still talk, as sometimes there are cases where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. And if you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you mitigate your risk. Now we're going to get into some examples. I do want to talk about how we calculate the state tax or state unemployment insurance tax. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments that we've done in the past. So the taxable wage base is customized by each state. So here in Oregon, the taxable wage base is at $54,300. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $54,300 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. And then the tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. So to calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for Oregon, it's that $54,300 times the tax rate range of 0.9% to 5.4%. This amount means that if each employee is making over $54,300, a company is paying in between $488.7 to $2,932.2 per employee in unemployment. And what we do to get started on an assessment is that we look over your tax rate notice. And I believe in Oregon, it was sent through email or by mail by November 15th. And this document includes your tax rate and a total of 3 years of benefit charges and taxable payroll. In this example, the organization paid over $10,000 in claims and over $45,000 in taxes. So they were overpaying around $34,000. Also, there's no need to understand everything on this notice. We'd be happy to look over those numbers and see if there may be any potential savings within your organization. And then we also have our next two examples. They're of nonprofits that had large overpayments that eventually transitioned into becoming reimbursers and also became part of our trust. And in this first example of a human services nonprofit we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate 4.7%, estimated claims only around $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims, especially with the tax rate notice. It offers like the 3-year or 3 years worth of claims and benefits. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. And think of what you could do with an additional $45,000 for your organization. And then we have our second example. The taxable payroll was around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims $5,900, and then estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000. So they were overpaying around $18,000. And a little bit more about 501c services. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive. He was looking for ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust called the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust that eventually became 501c Services, and then we have our trust called 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose, California, and we've now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. And then our services are valued tremendously, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And these are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can go back to these later, as I'll also attach the slides to the follow-up email. And here's a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago. It includes testimonials from Anika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger of Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with around 140 Oregon nonprofits. This is a quick snapshot of a few nonprofits here in the state that are members. And just like you heard in the clip, we help nonprofits relieve administrative burdens that can come with managing unemployment. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. And in the last year alone, we've handled over 1,500 claims in the state of Oregon. Our team will help you easily manage, audit, and protest claims. So if you ever have to protest the claims, we offer unlimited access to hearing reps. And our team has a 82.3% protest win rate in the state of Oregon. You'll get a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. And then all your claims will go through this online portal where you get notified when a claim has been filed. So you'll go into the portal and respond to the questions. And if in any case you ever go on PTO and forget to delegate these kinds of unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be a problem. For when a claim isn't responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. And a big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those Oregon error rates. So we can audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying for a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing these claims and also have enough support to do so. And we also have HR services. It includes 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small dedicated team that can answer any of your HR related topics. So if you ever have like an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with the person who will support you and manage any of your HR related questions. And then our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHRM certified. And we also have an online knowledge library with our HR services. And with the 872 maximum weekly benefits here in the state of Oregon, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you ever lay someone off, we have our reemployment tool. It offers access to different packages that can range from like online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. And our studies have shown that individuals that use this tool find a job 4 weeks faster than those that don't. So that's 4 weeks less in weekly benefits your organization would have to pay for that employee. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help save your organization more money. And then we have the protection part of our program. And most of our members take our stop loss protection that helps them during the catastrophic or some kind of catastrophic claim. And then other than catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserve account owned by our organization. We set up for you to pay for your claims and help you save for those possible unexpected number of claims that might come in. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. So if you want to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2024 to 2025 if you're reimbursing already. And then if you're paying into the state tax system, we would need a copy of that 2026 tax rate notice that was just sent in. And I don't see any questions so far. I will stay on for another minute or so. Otherwise, I will log off and start sending the follow-up emails with a copy of the slides and also the credits in the next few hours. And if you're still typing a question as I log off, please feel free to respond to that upcoming follow-up email. And thank you again for joining this presentation, and looking forward to speaking with some of you soon. And also an announcement, we do have an upcoming event in Portland. We have a seminar Wednesday, December 10th at or December 10th at the World Forestry Center from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's kind of like a breakfast, lunch and learn. And these are the different topics that are covered. So we'll have some kind of Oregon employment law updates, and this one is a little bit more in depth about unemployment insurance for the state of Oregon. There's some information that's similar to the Lunch and Learn webinar, but definitely a more broader overview on unemployment in your state. And if you have any questions, let me know. This is my contact information. And if you want to look into further information, this is our YouTube channel if you wanted to search. And this is our newsletter if you wanted to sign up for any upcoming events. And if you're interested in joining us for the Portland event, please let me know if you wanted to RSVP. And if you attend the event, if you bring your tax rate notice that offers or that has the 3 years worth of claims and taxes, we could create the cost analysis for you and create a proposal. Or if you're unable to attend, if Portland's too far, we can look at different alternatives.